The name of Stan Murphy has been around Saginaw County golf circles for decades. He was born in Tweed, Ontario, Canada, and became hooked on golf at the age of 14 when he started as a caddy at the Saginaw Country Club. An intense competitor on the golf course, Murphy was an outstanding golfer, as evidenced by winning the City Amateur Championship in 1941 and 1945. He gave up the game for a number of years as his children grew from toddlers toward adolescence. In 1955, he read about the first Saginaw District Tournament, which brought together the area's top amateur golfers. Murphy went out and purchased a second-hand set of clubs and won his first district title 3 years later. He totaled 5 Saginaw District Golf Championships in 1958, 60, 61, 65, and 1979. He also won numerous other amateur titles, including club championships at Maple Hill, Rolling Green, and the Saginaw Country Club.
And now that Saginaw Country Club at one time in the tournaments, I think we were on the 12th hole and he hit his tee shot to the right. He was just behind a couple of trees and you could see part of the green up there, and I was caddying. He says, I got to hit it between those two trees and I got to slice it in order to get on the green. I said, boy, that's going to be tough. He said, well, I said, what can I do? So he takes out his club and he whacks that sucker, and it just ticked the bark on the left-hand tree as it went by, curved to the right, up on the green. That was another one of those shots.
He won the Saginaw Country Club Invitational Championship 5 times while winning countless best ball tourneys. His titles include 8 club championships at 4 different private clubs in Saginaw. Murphy often left competitors behind on the golf course, never giving an inch. But away from the game, those who knew him say he was a nice guy.
I asked him, who was the best player, who was the best amateur golfer ever in Saginaw? He hesitated for a second. He said, well, next to me. And then he started to laugh. And he said, no. He said, Dave Ward probably was the best player I ever met. Oh, he says, no. There was a young buck, Ron Stelter. At the age of 19, this guy, he could have been a professional golfer, but he wanted to be a family man, and he got a job in the education. And I know that he could have been a pro. He was as good as anybody.
There is only one Stan Murphy, and there will never be another like him. That's what his longtime friend and 10-time district champ Ron Stelter said.
And Stan was the original president and was the drive behind the switch from Rolling Green to Maple Hill. He was an intense individual who really believed in, if he got going on something, he went at it 100%, and he believed that he was going to get it done, and he did get it done. And it was interesting. A lot of times, see, Stan was a food peddler, and so, you know, I don't know if he was making a lot of money, but we would play a 27-hole tournament. Then he'd come home, and he and Esther would go, and they would clean office buildings.
Byron Wilson got to know the man and called him one of the best amateur golfers this area has produced. Murphy was often called a great ambassador of the game. Others called him unnatural because of his ability to shoot a 72 the first time out for the season without any practice. Most people referred to Murphy as Mr. Maple Hill. A highlight of his later years was certainly winning the district championship at the age of 63 and the Maple Hill Labor Day Invitational Championship with Walt Van Sickle at the age of 73.
He played Chuck Kocius at Saginaw Country Club. Now, Chuck was the greatest amateur in the state of Michigan. For many, many years, they never played against each other. Well, Dad was a scratch golfer in the state of Michigan also. You know, they were out at the country club. I think it was for the 100th. Was that it, Pat? 100th anniversary? Yeah. And I was caddy, and I had a video camera, and they were hitting balls over in the practice tee, and straight out, you know. And then they got on the first tee, and away we went. Well, after I think it was 3 holes, Dad was 2 shots behind. He got mad. He hadn't been hitting very good, so he clenched his teeth, and the 2 old gentlemen went at it. I mean, it got serious. And when it was all over on the 18th, Dad rolls one in from the edge, and I think he beat him by 3 strokes, and it was under par to boot. And here he is, what, 80 years old?
Murphy died May 20th, 1998 at the age of 83 and is buried at St. Andrew's Cemetery.